Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. You know, my name's Chad. Take a dive into sports, and welcome to my continuation of my series of my top 50 greatest position players in Major League Baseball. I know it's been a while since I released my previous one of the outfielders. This one's going to cover the designated hitters, which is, in hindsight, just became a full position in both leagues this year in 2022. It's only really been in effect since about 1973 in the American League, so it's a relatively new position. That meant a position that people really find as a key aspect for that. But this also allows some of the great hitters a chance to kind of showcase their stuff, because there's actually 3 players in the Hall of Fame that went in as designated hitters. In case you don't know, that's Harold Baines, Edgar Martinez, and David Ortiz. There's been quite a few other players that have had that title, designated hitter, but played other positions, which are already covered, like Paul Molitor, Carl Yastrzemski, or some of the other players that kind of Frank Thomas have all personified the DH role later in their careers, and that's basically what some of the hitters did as they got slower on the defensive side of the game. They decide that they're off, but their offensive numbers are still up. They just move them to the DH where they can still provide that offense they need in the designated hitter spot. And, I kind of not really did that with a lot of that position players. I went by what the position they went to the Hall of Fame with, or what they predominantly played the majority of their career. And then I also go after their managers as well. Because you don't have a good skipper to really mold the talent on the field correctly, and be able to organize his pitching staff correctly to be able to do the chess moves on the baseball diamond. That's all it is between the 2 managers, that they're just moving their key pieces in the right spots so they get checkmate. And 2 managers are tied for the most World Series titles between them. That is Joe McCarthy and Casey Stengel. Both of them have 7 World Series crowns. Stengel also has 10 pennants, but John McGraw is tied with him with 10 as well. And quite a few of those guys are also in the Hall of Fame. So, but before I dive any further into this madness, if you could go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me, especially the content provided. You really please, you 2 guys, really help put this channel out. You also subscribe. Love you guys review my work. Now, me if you subscribe, this costs you a dime. Helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now I'm gonna go back to the DH, and I am just going to put it this way: I cheated. We came to the designated hitters, and there wasn't many out there that really wanted to say, "Hey, here's the designated hitter." So basically, what I did. Not only do you have your 3 that win the Hall of Fame as designated hitters, also pull up quite a few extra players. Now, threw in a couple extra third baseman, first baseman that I looked at and then make the cut. And this is also where the rest of my outfielders ran off to. As I told you, I could have made 3 separate slides for the outfielders for how many I found that had great stats and just couldn't make it. So I decided to put them all as DHs. And so that way you get some of the guys are, huge base stealers that finally landed the spots in here. And, do you have your 3 Hall of Famers, but also Shohei Ohtani will be in here. You know him as the pitcher for the Angels. They can also hit home runs. He did that quite a while in the Japanese league before coming over. He does play outfield occasionally as well when he's not in the pitcher rotation. But he's definitely one of those players you really have to account for. And this one have a lot of the younger players in here. Some older players that were decent enough as well. So I'll go ahead and we'll kind of go over a little Hall of Fame selection. Not really Hall of Fame selection. Kind of go over the little slideshow put together. But before I do that, let me just go ahead and give you some of the stats I found out. There's going to be 3 Hall of Famers in here, I've already previously mentioned. And also 1 that's in the Canadian Hall of Fame as a first baseman. 32 World Series titles, 3 World Series MVPs, 5 league MVPs, 58 Gold Gloves, which means they were in a position 65 Silver Sluggers, 123 All-Star selections, and 2 all Major League Baseball teams. And as I said, majority of these guys are, or not majority, but there's going to be a good selection of current players in this list. And some of you really will know. Some names you probably know as well. Bo Jackson finally made a list. Because you don't know, Bo knows. If he didn't get injured in the NFL, he probably had a really good baseball career. But hey, let me put this little slide together, let you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you on the other side. I hope you enjoyed that trip down memory lane. So not really memory lane because another thing I had to take into account, and I forgot to mention before showing this one, anyone not in the league prior to 1973 was not considered eligible for the DH. So as you see, there wasn't a lot of, 60s and 50s and turn of the century players because the DH wasn't around then. This is more of a current list of players. Basically the 70s and 80s, when the DH role was really starting to develop. So you see a lot more current players than anything else. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and start looking at the managers. These guys are just some of the phenomenal greats you can look at in terms of wins. I mean, most of these guys are up there in terms of victories. Connie Mack has the most wins ever for any manager, for over 3,700 wins, but he has 9 pennants and 5 titles. And I've already mentioned over the 2 that won the most pennants, the 2 that won the most World Series. So there's quite a few players in here that has never, but managers in here that did not manage to win anything. They have these great teams and they just kind of fell short. Gene Mauch comes into mind because he has the most wins of any manager not to win a pennant. which is unfortunate for him because he's had some decent teams. And I'll just go ahead and throw out there that this one I did have a 50 list of 50 managers, but then I decided just go ahead and throw in the extra guys in here, not create a separate slide. There's no really need for that. So in my top 50, there's 30 Hall of Famers, and then the additional will have 2 185 pennant winners and 79 World Series titles, and then the honorable mention ones have 11 more pennants and 6 World Series titles. We'll see quite a few of the current managers that have done some amazing work now, including Kevin Cash out there in Tampa Bay. Always seems to have a very good team that keeps making the playoffs. Bob Melvin, who's doing an excellent job down there in San Diego. Dave Roberts out in L.A. for the Dodgers. I mean, those teams have been competitive. For some reason, can't win the World Series, except for that one. They always seem to fall short. But there's some great managers out there. A lot of these guys are also players, so you might have seen their faces prior to some of the other slideshows, some of the other presentations, because some of these guys have been either catchers or outfielders or even basemen. So a lot of times your best managers, those have actually played the game. But I'll let you go ahead and enjoy these individuals, and I will see you on the other side. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little presentation of the skippers. And this pretty much concludes all the position players. Now it's time for me to kind of coalesce and create my top teams, where I'll start pulling out players to fill in the brackets and whatnot. And I'm trying to find a way to make things nice and even to kind of mimic Major League Baseball in terms of their roster sizes. And it was kind of hard to really kind of pinpoint how they want to do this to be fair for every position, but there will be 27 players and 3 managers, so a total of 30. I'll try to create a fun and idealist way to kind of present that information, so it might take me a little bit longer to get that out to you. As we all know, it's a busy time frame for this time frame to get these videos out, so keep an eye on that. And I really hope you enjoyed the list. I know it's probably not the best output when it comes to DHs. I understand that one. I probably should have pulled a few of the guys from positions and then move them to DH. That would give me a more of a selection of players to work with, especially like Dave Winfield and Reggie Jackson, and like I said, Paul Molitor, Ricardo Susimski, Frank Thomas, Paul Canerico, players like that. Probably Jim Tomei could pop them all in and put them just in DH role and just kind of let other position players go front and center. But But let me know down below what you really think about this. Do you think there's anyone that should have added to any of these lists that I totally forgot? And trust me, there's been so many players that played this game. I'm sure I may have missed a few. But just let me know down below while you're there. Go ahead and thumbs up once again. You can also share this video with your friends and family, but it helps support this channel out. Once you subscribe, make sure you click that bell notification. I'll let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.